Hi, I'm Coach Joe Bawalik, and I am super excited to be hosting this webinar on Level 10 Mindset. Little bit of logistics, there's no slides, so please take good notes. I'll answer any questions at the end if time allows. This is also going to be uploaded into Loom, so you can watch it over and over again if you choose. So with that said, welcome to 2022. It's going to be a great year, a phenomenal year in real estate. I hope everybody has the mindset that's positive and excited, and I'm going to go over some things that we can look at to try to help you with that. So let's start by looking at a few key points to focus on when it comes to mindset. The first one is you want to try to have an understanding that having a positive mindset is much like time management. It's to be managed, not mastered. As you move through the growth ladder, you'll have different challenges and obstacles along the way. Everybody reacts to those differently, and everybody's different into what affects their mindset and what doesn't. You first have to have an understanding of what it is that really challenges your mindset so you could put those things in place to get past that and help. And we're going to go over some of that stuff. You know, knowing what affects your mindset is part of that management. It's part of managing that negative versus positive mindset. Negative thinking is always easier than positive thinking, but it has no upside. That's the first thing we have to realize. You know, we have to try to understand that we have a choice. We choose to either be positive or negative. So if you have a choice in that and there's no upside, it may take a little work, but working at it and having that positive mindset is going to help you in your growth, in your movement, in your confidence, and everything that you do. One of the things that you want to keep in mind is be visual. Put things up as reminders. I've got reminders all around me as I look in my office. You know, it's one of the ones that I put in place that helped me personally was the saying, some will, some won't, so what, move on. You know, I was an agent that got stuck on the moment. Somebody did something that I didn't like. Somebody turned me down. A call went like I didn't like it. We've all been there. Me understanding personally that some will, some won't, so what, move on, or next, you know, it helped me along the way, and it may help you. You know, if it's not in my schedule, it doesn't exist. You know, I love that. What's most important in my schedule is what's next in my schedule. Create those visuals to help you move along your day, to remind you as you're going, because let's be real about it. Sometimes we get caught in the moment. Sometimes all of the mindset stuff that we hear and everything that's said and things that we hear and say, oh, wow, yeah, that makes sense. We hear Tom with if it's not in my schedule, it doesn't exist. Yeah, that's great. That's a perfect thing to focus on. But sometimes we get caught up in that moment and we forget it because it's not in front of us. Be visual, put that reminder up. You know, one of the things that I have up as well is never touch the same piece of paper twice. Me personally, I used to be a pile mover. Those of you that are in that same position, that you move those nicely stacked piles all over the place, never touch the same piece of paper twice. Finish it. If you touch it, I've got to finish it. That's going to help your mindset and not pile on different things to you. Whatever you need a reminder to focus on, put it up. Have it in front of you. Have your goals in front of you. Put your average commission check, that amount, somewhere where it's causing you to move and it's focused, you know, you're focused on that as you go. Try to stop thinking that you need to know everything. Just take action. Now, knowledge is crucial. Learning as we move and as we grow is crucial to our success. But the thinking that you can't do something because you need to know this and you're not taking action on it, try to get away from that. Know just what you need to know at that moment. Take action to it and adjust. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. You know, use those things to move as you go. Dress to your motivation, whatever that is, and match that with music as well. What do you mean by that, Coach? So there's a lot of theories, principles, things going out there that, you know, about dress, about, you know, dress up, show up, that, you know, everything with that. And that's fine. I personally was somebody that I'm comfortable in a suit, but there's certain occasions that I wear the suit. There's certain things because in my mindset, that's what I have to have on at that moment. That's what I perceive as, what my alter ego is, what I need to be in that moment of what I'm trying to accomplish. In all honesty, when I prospect, 90% of the time, I'm in a hoodie. I look like I'm more going to a boxing match than I am, doing something business professional. But that's my comfort level. Dress to your motivation. That motivates me. I was talking to somebody as I was prepping for this, and we were talking about the dress and those things and going through it. And I said, I would love to jump on this webinar in a hoodie and just be ready to let's just rock this. But that's, I haven't created that versatility yet to be at that point. But whatever you're doing, dress to what motivates you and match it with the music. There's certain things in certain areas where you may have different music. Create it so it's the mindset that's keeping in tune with that. Okay. So in prepping for this, I realized how much mindset stuff is really out there. Not only the stuff that I have when I started looking up different sayings, different things, different ways to look at things, it's overwhelming. It could be overwhelming. It could literally stop you in your tracks. So what I did in prepping for this was I started bullet pointing some things that I looked at as I went through the growth ladder and the things that I had to change as I went to put things in place to keep my mindset strong and moving. And there's a ton of stuff out there. I'm just going to cover the things that help me the most personally. So I hope that some of this touches you and helps you the most. So here's a few things that you can do to create a strong, positive mindset. Number one, know what you want to say. Whatever your script is, get good with it. Whatever you're saying over and over again. Remember, a script is a great set of questions, an intro, a great set of questions, and a guidance to give you to have a conversation. So whatever your script is, we all have scripts, the same things we say when we do certain things. Get good with it. Put a skill development plan in place so you could focus on that and build that confidence moving into those things. Okay. Number two, surround yourself with positive people who enjoy the success of others. Think about that for a minute. Surround yourself with positive people who enjoy the success of others. Put yourself in those positions where you've heard like-minded individuals. You've heard people that want you to do best. However you want to package that. Surround yourself with those people who are enjoying not only their own success, but success of others. You're in an environment in the ecosystem that breeds that. It's, in my opinion, the greatest ecosystem that's out there in real estate, in pretty much any industry. Everybody in this ecosystem truly wants to see everybody else in it do well, 100%. Surround yourself with those people. Understand, number three, understand that mistakes will happen. Don't fear that. Learn from it and be sure it's part of your growth process. I've learned the most, not from all of the positive stuff that I've done or that I've seen people do. I've learned the most from the mistakes. And I'm just being honest. And I'm okay with that. I've said many times, and this is something that you want to keep in mind when you're talking positive mindset, I have no regrets. Have I made mistakes? Oh, you betcha. I've made quite a few mistakes, and that's a whole different webinar. That's something way in itself, something different. So we're all going to do that. It's okay. It's going to happen. But learn from it. Learn from those things. Somebody told me a long time ago, there's three things to do when you make a mistake. Number one, own it. Own that mistake. You made the mistake, own it. Number two, learn from it. And then number three, don't ever do it again. Because if you learn from it, if you do it again, it's not a mistake anymore, it's a habit. So own it, learn from it, don't ever do it again. And that's okay. You won't have regrets if you look at it that way and you understand with a positive mindset, yeah, mistakes are going to happen. It's okay. Number 4, create strong focus daily on your why, and don't break the chain between your why and the daily actions and disciplines that are needed to get you to your why. So in essence, what that says is, you know what your why is. We all know on this call that certain actions need to take place daily to hit that why. Make sure the chain between why we're doing those actions daily and your why never breaks. Keep that and keep focused on that. That's the difference between somebody pushing you through something and you pulling yourself through it. Okay. Number 5, practice thinking beyond what your experience remembers. Think bigger. You know, think about the most, let's just take this from a real estate perspective and keep it to transactions and money. Okay. So if you look at your most transactions you've ever done, think about that number for a second. Think about the most transactions you've ever done in a year. Okay, now add 10 to it. Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what that brings you? Do you know what it is to do 10 more transactions than you've already done the most in a year? No, you don't, because we don't have any experience to that. We've seen others do it. We have goals if we're going to do it, but we have to think bigger beyond that because we don't have that muscle memory. We don't have that experience. There's going to be certain things that come into play. Keep a positive mindset and focus past it. Focus on what that brings and how great that would be to get there, and have that blind faith to push through anything that gets in your way. Okay. The next one, number 6, I want you to put a star next to. Keep learning. The learning process will help you speed up the earning process. Learn outside, focus on books for different things. Okay, and I'm just going to name a few books that, you know, that I've enjoyed, that I think helped in certain ways for myself. My biggest book that I love is Power Questions. That's skill related to me. That helps us understand questions and why we ask them, how we strengthen them. It's all based on skills. You know, that's something that I would definitely recommend. Alter ego effect. You know, we tend to put ourselves in different positions, and sometimes we have a hard time doing that. You know, we have to look at it, read the alter ego effect. That'll help you in understanding that whole aspect of that. Life by Design. You know, 12-week year, Positive Dog. There's books for everything that you need out there. Ask for some suggestions. There's way more than that, but those are, you know, the top 5 or 6 that I would put on my reading list. Okay. Number 7, don't focus and waste time on things you can't control. That's huge. Let's look at this realistically. You have a seller. Your seller gets to the inspection and says, nope, I'm not doing anything. Digs their heels in. Buyer's agent talks to the buyer. Buyer says, unless that happens, I'm not buying. Nobody budges. Realistically and honestly, how much control do you have with that situation? Think about that for a minute. Yes, Mr. Seller, blah, 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 blah. Here's your options. We give the information, we do everything, but let's be real. How much control do you have over that after that? I've given you your options. This is my suggestion based on experience, whatever you're going to tell them. At that point, you've got no control. So I can't tell you how many times that it's happened to me in the beginning of my career, that I've seen it in my coaching, that it's not the fact that a deal fell apart, it's how much time after that agents, including myself in the beginning, spent on wallowing in the fact that that deal fell apart. Nothing we can do. Deals are going to fall apart. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but deals are going to fall apart. It is what it is. We have so much control, but don't focus and waste time on things you can't control. Other agents in your market, what they're doing, those things, block that stuff out. Don't let that stuff get into your mind. Compete against your business plan. That's your only competition. Compete against yourself. I mean, think about it. Think about what you're producing now. Could you produce more? What's stopping you? It's generally yourself, not taking actions, doing those things. Focus on that stuff. Practice and strengthen your daily discipline. Start by conquering little things, then create the habit for 90 days. Remember, it's a process. It's all a process. So focus on strengthening those disciplines that you need to do daily, whatever that may be. We each have our own way of looking at things. We each have our own strengths and weaknesses. Certain people may not be, they may have some challenges with prospecting, cold calling. Some others may have video on that list. Some may social media, some geo farm, whatever it is. Start to strengthen that daily discipline by moving your growth process forward and then celebrating the win. Any movement and growth is a win. It doesn't have to be the end result. It's the actions taken up before that. So celebrate those. So number 9, attend events. I'm a coach. Okay. I've also been a coaching client. I've also been to many events. And again, it's not from a sales position. The events are huge because it's not just to learn, it's also to network and build relationships. Yes, I've learned a ton in the events, a ton. I mean, it's information overload sometimes, and that's a good thing. And you learn from there. But I've learned a ton from networking in the events over the years, from other agents, no matter what their production level is, no matter what their experience level is. I've learned tons from new agents, from agents that have been around for a while, for those producing 200 plus to those that haven't closed a transaction yet. See, that's where the growth comes in. If you fight your drunk monkey, your ego, and not allow yourself mindset wise to think that you know everything or that you already know that, that's where the real growth begins. Okay, and I'm going to touch on that in a little bit. So by doing that and networking with those people and building those relationships, it's going to keep you focused, and it's a way to surround yourself with those positive people. The next one, do positive affirmations daily. Do them daily, but also when you need them. They can easily be done during multiple times in your day. This is where I'm going to be honest again. And I'm going to say that I was somebody that fought affirmations because they just felt weird to me in the beginning. Okay, we fight that. That mindset that you fight, a lot of people have been through that. So if you're saying to yourself, just feels weird, it's just kind of, it's not my thing, whatever. Listen, been there, done that. I get it. Okay. The minute I got past that and I still do affirmations daily. I start first thing in the morning. I used to be that person that hit the snooze, that had a hard time getting out of bed, even after I got out of the Marine Corps, because it just wasn't, a lot of us get into real estate because we want freedom. Although we realize that it's a freedom from income that hits us pretty hard, and it's not so much freedom that we're looking for, but you have those choices, especially in the beginning. And I was a snooze button kind of guy. I'll be the first to admit it. But then I started doing some affirmations, and the one that stuck with me was so basic, so simplistic. Today is going to be a great day. Today is going to be a great day. And then I set goals that made me excited to jump out of bed every morning. And now I'm up perfectly every day, 5 minutes before my alarm clock goes off. Just a habit that was created. My eyes open 5 minutes. I hit my phone to see what time it is, and it's 5 minutes every day before my alarm clock. And what do? I don't roll over. I get up and I say, it's going to be a great day. I've got 5 extra minutes I just bought back from my day. I just stole 5 minutes of my schedule. That's a positive mindset moving forward. Okay. So try to get those affirmations in, whatever you need them for. Create your own. They don't have to be a list. It doesn't have to be this, here's the list of information of affirmations, use them. It's not always about that. It's about, hey, what's my challenge? Affirmations are just putting something into your mind. Let's be honest again. We all do affirmations. The problem is that 80% of them are negative. That's where we have to be careful. Affirmations trick the mind into believing whatever we're telling it. So if you tell yourself, I'm not a morning person, I hate cold calling, I'm not good at this, I haven't done this, whatever those negative affirmations are, you're going to believe. And what you believe, you achieve. So when you look at that, if you're achieving the negative side, circle back and look what you're telling yourself, on a daily basis or constantly. The next thing, track and measure your numbers. There's no better way of knowing where you are with your business. And let's be real. How do you know where you're going if you don't know where you're coming from? Track those numbers. Look at what you're doing. Look at how you need to improve. Track the small numbers. Track the amount of conversations. The big numbers will come if you dial back and focus on the small numbers. Some on this call are knee buckled by big numbers. You look at that number that you set for your goal in the business plan and you're like, oh my God, coach, what am I going to do? How am I going to do that? And then you dial it back. That's the key. Dial it back to make those numbers much smaller and look at what you have to do in a week time and focus on winning that. Look at a daily time. What numbers do I have to do today? And if I do those numbers, do I win the day? Win more days than you lose in a year, and you're going to be good. That's what you're looking at doing. Okay. Be honest. And if your skills are not where you want them to be and are holding you back, look at a skill development plan and how to strengthen that. Work on whatever the skills are, whatever you need to. Talk to your coach, put a skill development plan in place, attach it to your business plan, post it up so it's in front of you. Practice, role play, whatever you need to do. Get comfortable in doing it. And if it doesn't work in the beginning, meaning, listen, I know the deal. Been there with the role play. I get it. Sometimes you don't get great role play partners, or it's not a good match. That's okay. You just move on to the next person. It doesn't mean you stop what you're doing. It means you strengthen what you're doing and you push through it. Okay. The next one, set and get into a routine. Routine creates clarity and confidence. Confidence is huge. Okay. Confidence is something we're talking about, the perceived value. Okay. The perceived value is the confidence factor. It's your smile. It's your handshake. It's the twinkle in your eye. It's your posture. It's your eye contact. We talk about the listing process and those things. Well, think about that moment when they open the door. You do your whole process and you open the door. Think about your perceived value when they open it. Are you having that confidence factor? And if the answer is yes, carry that throughout your day. Carry that into everything you do. Have that confidence. Okay. The next one, mastermind and accountability groups. I'm going to just say briefly, get involved with those. Accountability is going to help your mindset, believe it or not. The more that you're held accountable, the more that you create that routine, the more your confidence is going to build, and you're going to understand that, hey, I got this. I know where I'm going. I know what I have to do. I've got an accountability partner that keeps me going. That's fine. Get involved in that stuff. So the next one, and I would highlight this one, star it, put little happy faces by it, thumbs up, whatever. Remove the drama and or negative people. Get away from it. You know, we and I'm going to combine this with the next one I have here, which is avoid getting sucked into the negative. News, office, while you're driving, in public. Lump all that together. Everybody, I battled my mindset with Debbie and Donnie Downer in the office for many years, because every time it sprinkled outside, I would have somebody say, "Oh my God, it's raining again." So I came up with a mantra to fight against it, with an affirmation. And every time they said it, I said, "Hey, it doesn't have to be sunny to make money. Let's go get it." And that was it. And I can't tell you, by just me fighting against that little bit of negative, it helped escalate me past that. Okay, look for those things, remove that stuff from there. You know, I've shut the news off years and years ago. You know, do I monitor certain things? Yes, absolutely. But again, being real with it, it's a lot of negative on the news. You know, and it's a lot of differences than it was maybe 20 years ago, 15, 20, 30 years ago. So now you've got to be very, very careful, or you're going to get sucked into that. Okay. And the last one in this group that I want you to write down is be realistic in your expectations, whatever those are. Expectations of what you want to accomplish, expectations of a situation, expectations of anything that you're involved with. Make sure your expectations are realistic and they line up with keeping your mindset positive. Okay. Here's some actions that you could do right now. And I'm going to try to elaborate on some of these for the sake of time. I may just go quick through them. But number one, play the perfect game. If you don't know what the perfect game is, it's looking for the positive side in everything that happens and starting with the word perfect. For example, my deal for my seller, my listing just fell through. Perfect. Now I have an active listing that I could leverage for more business. Look for the positive side. You know, something, just a silly example for it. Just got in a car accident. Perfect. I've had my eyes on a new car for a long time. Try playing that game and putting perfect. The next thing, number two on this, and this is one that was huge for me. And it may sound a little bit weird at first, but it was starting everything off by smiling and saying, "Okay, great," no matter what somebody said to me. So no matter what happened, I would say, "Okay, great," and then go into what I had to. Because do this for a minute right now. I want you to put a big smile on your face. Put the biggest smile you can and say, "Okay, great." During that time period, how hard would it be to think of anything negative? Okay, great. It kind of takes the negative away. It pushes it out automatically. So any challenge that comes up, start with that. Then look for ways to resolve it versus focusing on the problem. You know, if you've ever been in a position where you have that agent that calls and says, "We got a problem." Okay, great. What's your suggestions for solutions? Let's talk about it. Stay positive. Okay. Write this one down and put a star next to it. This is by far my favorite, and I'm going to talk for a few minutes on this. Okay. It's a versatility challenge. The clients that I coach know about this well. Okay, it's a versatility challenge, and what I've done for many years, and I still do, and I have fun with it, especially when I go to events, is 30 days. Every day, you have to write something down that tests your versatility, that you do, that is something you would not normally do. And you're not setting it up in advance. It's not a calendar where it's scheduled. It's that day thinking, what am I going to do to write on my calendar? And trust me, the first 5, 7, 10 days, it's pretty simple. You know, I'm going to drive a different way to the office. I'm going to drive a different car. I'm going to, maybe get up at a different time. You're going to see that the first 7 to 10 days are going to be on the easier side. Then the challenge starts. Then the challenge where you have to really get out of your box. You have to really push yourself. Then your drunk monkey steps in and starts saying, hey, you can't think of anything. Forget this thing. You did good for 10 days. Let it go. Let it go. Just do next time, do 11. And you got to fight the drunk monkey. Okay, you're going to see some amazing things happen. One of the things that I did on my first versatility challenge that I do every time I go out is one of two things. I either ask for a drink that's the bartender's favorite drink to make, don't want to know what it is, don't care, send it to me. Or, or ask either the waitress to whatever your favorite meal here is, send it to me. Or if the chef has a dish that they like making that's not on the menu, send it to me. I have tried some interesting things by doing that, and some things that I would have not ever tried. Okay, for example, those that know sushi a little bit, sea urchin. Okay, it's usually a love-hate. Phenomenal, loved it, would have never tried it. Try doing that. Try the versatility challenge and pushing yourself to be uncomfortable. Because remember, to be successful, you have to make yourself uncomfortable. Okay. Next thing, write down, avoid being Mr. or Mrs. Right. You don't have to be right. When you're right, you're making somebody wrong. So be very careful for that. Whether you're prospecting, talking to a client, in life, just remember, even negotiating, the perfect negotiation, in my opinion, is when the other side feels they won, but our side got everything they wanted. And that could just be in the conversation of letting them take the wheel. Okay. The one saying that I've always said to myself that keeps me focused on that, I don't need to be right, I just need to be rich. So I always keep that in the back of my mind. And hey, if somebody else wants to drive the bus and be the front runner, I can't tell you how many negotiations in real estate I had that led with, hey, you've obviously, done this way more than I have. You've obviously been doing this a lot longer than I have. So I'm hoping that you could help me in this situation. As a driver personality, talk about versatility with that. Let's just be realistic. That's some versatility to let somebody else take control like that. I'm okay with it. As long as we close, my client gets what they want, everybody's happy, I'm good. I can chew on that and be fine and sleep at night. Okay. Next one, write down, eliminate ego. This is one of the biggest challenges. That's your drunk monkey. And that's not just in feeling that you're better, but ego comes into play to avoid growth. It wants you to be comfortable, not successful. If we tell ourselves we already know that, I'm good at that, I'm the expert, the king, the champ, we stop learning and growing. I do not ever, and I will not ever revert, talk about myself as an expert, as, the king of anything like that, because then that's an affirmation that my mind is going to start believing, and it's going to shut down my growth. If somebody else refers to me as something, I just smile, say thank you, and move past it. But I don't let it get into me where it's slowing me down. Okay. And the last thing before I wrap up is I want you to write down positive affirmations always. Look at those things. Look at what you tell yourself. Stop telling yourself certain things to pull yourself down. I hear way too often, I'm still a new agent. I'm a new agent. What is a new agent? And where is this barometer? Tell me, 14 going on 15 years in real estate, I haven't seen the manual that says, well, you're not a new agent any longer when this happens. What has to happen? That's all mindset. It's totally mindset. So stop referring to yourself in a negative way as a new agent, or anything with that, anything that you're referring. I hate cold calling. I don't like this. I don't like that. It's anybody that asks me, listen, I love prospecting. I love it. I miss it when I don't do it. Now, I'll be honest. Do I truly, really love prospecting? I guess so, because that's what my mind's telling me. I think my affirmation of I love prospecting that I've done years ago and did for so long kind of worked. So I don't know if I really love it or not, but my mind's telling me I do. So I love it. Try doing that with everything. Try doing that daily and see how much that you change as you move forward. Okay. So again, ton of stuff I could have covered. I covered as much as I could in the time that I'm allotted. I tried to cover the most important things that I felt moving forward. But if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. And I hope this helped. Okay, so I don't see any questions coming through. I don't know if the moderator grabbed any. I'd be happy to answer any that come over afterwards. If they want to forward them, I'll be happy to do that. So thank you for attending. I hope everybody enjoyed this. If I can ever help with anything, please, just approach me. If you see me, whatever, I'll be happy to. Have a great 2022 because it is going to be phenomenal.